Why is Jesus more credible than any other character in any other book that's ever been written?
Great question. The reason that Jesus is more credible than any other option, more trustworthy, is because the way he lived his life is like no other. In John chapter 8, he could look into the faces of his enemies and ask them, which one of you can prove me guilty of sin? And his enemies were silent. In 1 John chapter 3, a man who lived very closely with Christ for 3 years could write, in him is no sin. Second point is, when you read the content of his ethical teaching, the Sermon on the Mount. As Robert Coles, psychology professor at Harvard, put it, all the writings on ethics over the past 2,000 years are simply footnotes to the Sermon on the Mount. That's an ethical genius that spoke the Sermon on the Mount. Third point, when you watch him die, nailed to a wooden crossbeam, instead of cursing his enemies the way I would have, he prays, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's incredible. Fourth point, and most important point, is 3 days after he dies, he physically, bodily rises from the dead, and over a period of 40 days appears to over 500 people who see him different times, different places, risen from the dead, and those eyewitnesses die, not for their belief. They die for what they claim to have seen, the dead Christ risen from the dead. That's why you'd be wise to put your faith in him.
As a security, like risk investment.
As the truth.
Oh,
as
okay.
real. You want to live in La La Land, or do you want to live in reality?
I'd like to live in reality.
Good. Then you check out Jesus, because the evidence is he's real.
The evidence.
The evidence, sir.
Can you prove to me God exists? And
Sure.
follow up, can you prove to me that the Christian God is quote unquote the right God?
You bet. I will prove to you that God exists if you first prove to me that I'm not just a bad dream you're having right now.
I can't prove that.
Thank you. I will prove to you that God exists if you first prove to me that your taste buds tell you the truth, that the milk is sour. Can you prove that?
Can't prove that.
I will prove to you that God exists if you first prove to me that your eyesight really perceives reality. Can you prove that?
Can't prove it.
Thank you.
Then why
And
does the
what on
Bible
earth are you
say-
doing asking me to prove God exists? Because you know there's no way,
Okay.
there's no way that I could ever prove that God exists. It's
Can you give
impossible.
me a good argument for it without using the Bible or quoting Jesus?
You bet. Thank you. Great. Yes, I can answer the question.